Hello, Pamela Spence, medical herbalist here, and here are my clinic notes for the week. So I've had a few people get in touch, which has been really very kind, asking about our journey with COVID and things that we've done to help the process along a little bit. And have asked me to a little bit more about recuperation. So firstly, I want to be very clear that I'm not excuse me, I have a frog in my throat. I'm not in any way saying that I have any kind of a cure or treatment for COVID. That's not what I'm about, and that's not what I'm doing. But what I am saying is these are the things that we've done that have helped. And I say that being acutely aware that this virus is a bit of a Russian roulette, really, and we don't really know who is going to be badly affected and who is going to sail through it with no symptoms and who is going to be somewhere in that grey area in the middle. And so I do say all of this with that absolutely in mind. Having said that, the thing about herbal medicine is that it's been around for so long as there have been humans on the planet, really, we think. And we know that from archaeological digs. That's what makes it exciting. It is kind of eternal and it does adapt to new situations. And there are certain principles around recuperating that don't change. And if you've been around me in my classes or been around me long enough, you'll know that I often say that our bodies haven't really changed since we lived in caves. It's society that has. And so what that means is that there are some principles of rest and recuperation that never change because our bodies are not changing. And if you think back to, even up to the 1960s, we would have had places in the UK and actually in Germany, where my husband's from, until the 2000s, there were places where people would go to rest and recuperate. So in Germany, they would call that Kur. And I probably pronounced that horribly. Sorry for anyone listening who's German. Apologies to my husband and son. But places that you would, that in Germany, the national health system would pay for you to go to a place, which was like a retreat almost, where you would eat a very clean whole foods diet, rest a lot, swim, do cold foot bathing, have massages, all of that kind of thing. And we weren't quite on top of that in the UK. I mean, you did have convalescence homes. One of the villages I used to live in before we moved to take over our clinic here, where we are now, there was what's now the community centre was actually a convalescence home stretching back a couple of 100 years. And so we've forgotten the art of convalescence, and I think it's really important. And this does not just apply to COVID, it applies to every illness. The thing with COVID, I think, is that a lot of people are experiencing fairly serious fatigue with it. We know that it is, for some people, a very big fight for the immune system. Certainly that's what switched me on to the fact that something was happening because we didn't have the standard symptoms. But I felt that my body was really battling something. I knew something was going on that was more than just a cold. And I would say we had mild to middling symptoms. But this sense of tiredness is a protection mechanism, really. It's your body saying, hey, wait, we're not ready to get back to normal yet. And what even is normal now? But like the lockdown normal, not ready. So this sense of tiredness. And when you feel that, modern society teaches you to pop a pill and push through. And what we're finding is that with COVID, there is the risk of long COVID. And we're not really sure how that happens. But I suspect, and it's just my suspicion, that what happens is people are pushing through too quickly and they're not recuperating. So for any illness, what is important is that you continue to support the body. So if you've been taking herbs, like I was talking about ones I was taking that were readily available, garlic, echinacea, elderberry, thyme, And obviously, as I was saying, some things that are not going to be available unless you have a herbal dispensary, that you continue to do that past the point of symptoms. Don't withdraw that support from your body. We know that with this situation, with any viral thing, vitamin C and D and zinc are important. You keep those up. You maybe drop the dose down a bit from the kind of really high dose when you were properly ill. But actually, the most important thing you can do is rest. So I am renowned as doing a lot. I function at a very fast level. I usually am spinning many plates. That's the reason why I created the community for women who do too much and don't know how to stop, because I am one. And I've had to learn techniques over the years to stop me falling into exhaustion and fatigue. And so I really had to, I have to say, with great support from my my herbal community wagging their finger at me, really clear the diary of everything but the most essential things in the last 2 weeks, or 3 weeks actually. And it's only this week I've done what I would consider to be 60% of my normal. And so what I am finding is that when it comes to evening, I am properly physically, mentally tired, and that's not normal for me. But I think it is normal for any big challenge that your body's been through. So resting and recuperating, really important, continuing to support your body, not doing too much too quickly. And all of that kind of flies in the face of what we are told to do in society. I always remember that Anadin commercial some years ago of the woman walking on, juggling all of the things, feeling terrible because she had a headache, and then she popped an Anadin pill, and then suddenly juggling all of the things was absolutely easy for her. And she had a big smile on her face. And I thought, oh my gosh, that is really so depleting for the body to keep going when you really need to rest. These things happen, these symptoms happen as a signal that your body's struggling, and you risk it if you continually ignore it. Sometimes we have to, I get that, I do it, but continually ignoring it is difficult. So learning the art of recuperation, I think, is really important. Hot baths if you need it, hot showers if you need it, gentle walks in nature if you can, all of those things. Chicken soup or if you're veggie, a good vegetable stock soup, easy to digest foods, rice-based dishes. We were very much about wanting fresh juices as well. So supporting your body in all of those ways is really important. And it's an art we've forgotten, but actually we all know how to do this. And actually it doesn't cost anything. I mean, like maybe the extra veg and fruit juice does, and for some people I get that that's going to be a barrier to them doing it, but most of it actually doesn't cost anything. We don't need to spend lots of money on supplements and programs and whatnot to recuperate, but what we do need to do is pay attention when we need to do it, because if we don't, we can slip into a more chronic situation. That's for every illness. So if I was to shout something from the rooftops at the moment, it would be learn the art of recuperation again, give yourself some time off. I am taking the next 2 weeks off. I'm clearing the decks today, and then I will be closing down for 2 weeks. You will still see social media things popping up because they're scheduled, but no clinic notes. And I'm going to have a really good rest, and I'm hoping that by the time I come back in 2 weeks' time, I will be completely recovered. That's my hope. I hope that you have a lovely Easter break, spring break, wherever you are, and that you manage to tune into nature at some point and get some rest. It's been a heck of a year, and COVID or not COVID that you've had, we could all do with some resting, because the next thing we're going to have to do is lots of change. And if you've been following me for a while, that any change is stressful for the body. So lots of changes coming in terms of lockdown easing and getting out into the world again. And with that will come bits of anxiety, bits of stress, but we're being asked to adapt another time. So rest up if you can, while you can, and have a lovely Easter. Take care.